2 here.
Oh, play back, play back, play back, play back.
You have breaks for him.
I'm gonna bomb here.
No break, be big.
I'm dead.
Oh, ball's low.
Alright, so we're just going over a bunch of ability usage stuff, especially after this game is done. I'll demonstrate it all.
Okay.
But just
Nice.
keep in mind for now, a lot of times instead of just spamming in missiles, it's going to be a good idea to, or we can spam in missiles when we're in a poke phase, but the way we're going to want to use our missiles is when we boost in on things aggressively. We can use our missiles to burst them down. Then with our defense matrix, instead of just looking to eat up any old regular spam, we're trying to get specifically abilities, or using your defense matrix when people on your team are low, right? Very nice eat.
Can't find this bomb. Oh, that was bad.
Mercy, 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 mercy.
Top left, there's Junkrat.
I need to be contesting that.
Yep. When you're shooting, yeah, when you just go to take that duel, look to use your missiles, and keep in mind that we want to, instead of just spamming at tanks the entire fight, we want to look to be getting on those squishy or easier to kill targets. Oh. We'll go over some bomb tech after the
Yeah.
this is done, but big thing there was just don't launch it like straight. You went up, then we kind of came down with it. So we'll go
Okay.
into that after we're done here.
That sucks. Yeah.
We need more damage.
Alrighty, so so in this sorry, I'm those guys are distracting me a little bit. We'll talk about some stuff in between this round. First off, defense matrix usage. So try not to just use it for regular spam or don't put it up periodically. The thing we want to do is look at their team composition and think in our heads, what things do we want to be looking to use our defense matrix against, right? Specific abilities. So fire strike, anti-nade. When Roadhog lands a hook, we can defense matrix our teammate and keep them alive. Then on top of that, we can use our defense matrix as a way to keep teammates alive when we see that teammates are low HP. When our monkey dives in, we want to defense matrix him to keep him alive. So basically, we can kind of use our defense matrix like a shield, and we can just put it around our teammate to keep them alive. So look to use that specifically against certain abilities, not just against any like a random spam damage that they're throwing in.
Okay.
win then?
Because I'm good at this game.
Okay. With your target priority, make sure that you're not just trying to chase after tanks. We're going more into depth on this, but it's gonna be very difficult to kill tanks. So most of the time, you're gonna want to look to go for the easier to kill supports and DPSs. I'll go more in depth on that after this round's done.
Going right side.
There's a ball behind.
Don't worry, Electra's got this. Hopper Sombra, Hopper Sombra. Oh, that freeze low. Freeze low. There you go.
Reaper, no race, no ability.
Ah, I can't go anywhere.
How the fuck did he get pushed over there? What the fuck?
We gonna win. We gonna win.
Hate you, monkey.
Monkey.
Okay, good defense matrix on his ult there. I like that we're using our missiles on people now
Can you go back for heal?
when we're
Yeah.
kind of aggressively boosting at them.
Thank you. Monkey left side. He's going for our.
We have low heals, I think. Reaper TP on a point.
Alright, no one for no one. Oh, why we?
Right, when we're trying to remech as Baby Diva, try not to just sprint into the enemy team. Sit a little bit further back, do some spam damage from a distance. There's no reason to run straight at them, right? That's just gonna be the easiest way to kill yourself on Baby, or even in regular Diva too.
I went for the spawn cam and I died. Reaper's right here. Reaper's right here.
Oh, Anna's won.
That is my bad. I didn't know there was a 3 there.
Go Anna, 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 Anna. Where is it? Where is it?
Very good bomb usage. But then as soon as we're done our bomb, again, try not to, we don't want to be sitting on point as Baby Diva. I think a lot of times we're just dying unnecessarily on Baby Diva. So play
Okay.
a lot safer because you're gonna get your mech back after you throw bomb, right? So stay behind cover, try to stay back and fight, don't run on the point. And then that way we're not dying as fast, right, as Baby. We can actually stay in the fight even after we use bomb.
High news.
Okay.
High news.
Yeah, Reaper was high noon.
No, the 3 is high news.
No, Reaper was high noon.
No, Reaper's the best boss, dude.
Oh, Reaper.
Monkey point.
I break the reloaded.
Alrighty. So you said you have, like, how often have you played this character? Because
No match
do 20% win rate could just be because you don't play her often, because it looks like you did pretty decent there. Now I am going to be streaming over on Discord if you want to go take a look. I'm gonna go over a bunch of different things here.
Yeah.
So first off, we'll just go over something while you're getting in here. We can go over something that's kind of more It's not doesn't require demonstration. So, first off, target priority. So, when we are looking to shoot at things, right? Looking to shoot at targets, we want to make sure that we are focusing the easier to kill targets, right? So squishy targets. That's any non-tank. So tanks, for example, us chasing around ball. It's not going to be too fruitful for us. He has 600 HP. He can even get more than that if he shields himself. He has a lot of mobility. And then most of the times tanks will have roughly 3 times the amount of health that squishy targets have. So first off, that makes it much harder to kill. Second off, the DPS and supports just get more value statistically than tanks do. So if your DPS do more damage, supports do more healing. Tanks' jobs, besides like maybe like a diva is a little bit different, but for the most part, tanks' jobs are to create space for the other roles. So you're there to prop up the other roles. So if we can focus the DPS and the supports, we're going to be getting a lot more value, and it's going to be a lot easier to kill them. So we want to make sure that we're looking to focus the right targets and not chase around the ball. Now, it doesn't mean that we can never shoot at tanks. So there are times where we do go down and shoot tanks. When tanks are low or out of position, or they're the only thing to shoot at, right? Then we can shoot at tanks. But besides that, if it's an equal opportunity, right? Tanks there, supports there, right? If it's an equal opportunity and they're both right next to us, we go on the easier target to kill. Now with our damage, keep in mind that a lot of the time we're playing at a I guess a pretty medium range, so we'll play around here, and yeah, that's good. That's better than playing back here, right? That's much better than playing here because you can see the further away you get, the more of a spread you have, and we're really doing less and less damage the further away we get on targets. So we typically damage them within this kind of 10-meter range, but it'd be even better a lot of times if we can get even further up on them, because then we can pretty much just instantly shred them, especially for hitting those headshots, right? We can kill them almost 2 times faster. So just be looking to get in closer if you can. That's going to make it easier to hit our shots. We're going to be hitting more. Now what we can do, and this is how we can secure kills very easily, is we kind of do a combo. We're going to, and I saw you doing this more and more, but this is going to be one that you're going to want to use like really often, especially when you see something that's slow or out of position, or you have an opportunity to go in on it, because our boosters are on a 4-second cooldown, so we're going to be getting that pretty frequently. So we can boost in on people, use our just boost off the map, but we can boost in on
The
people.
dangers of boosters.
Yeah, we can boost in on people, use our missiles, and then melee to cancel it. And the melee serves 2 purposes. First off, you're canceling your flight, because melee cancels flight. And the second off, you're doing an extra little bit of damage with that. So we can boost in on people, use our missiles, and then melee once we get there, right? And then that will burst people down super fast, even if we're approaching from a little bit of a further distance, right? This way we can burst them even if we're coming from that distance. And we're getting in closer to where we're doing more damage, right? So defense matrix, keep in mind we can use it kind of like a shield, to where I believe you have 10 meters of range on your defense matrix. So from here we can be block, or let's see, I'm trying to find like we can be blocking the damage from the people over there. Right, so keep in mind we can do this from a little bit of a distance, and we can basically just put a cone of protection around our teammates. So we can do that for specific abilities, ultimates, or if a teammate's just 1 HP like this, we can defense matrix them and keep them alive, right? So that's how we're gonna be looking to use defense matrix, rather than just when they're full HP. We don't want to just sit here soaking up spam damage, because then they throw in abilities, they use ultimates, and somebody's low, and now we just don't have defense matrix because we just used it all, right? So we want to be selective about how we're using our defense matrix, and we can also use it to save our own health if we need to. Now with our bomb, a lot of the time when we're using bomb, we want to be kind of throwing it. It's going to depend on where your positioning is. If we're sitting in the middle of the fight, right, straight on point or something like that, then we're just going to launch it straight up. So how we do that is we go up a little bit with it. We wait 1 or 2 seconds, because if we do it too early, then it's going to explode too far up in the air. And if we do it too late, then it's just going to be super easy to kind of dodge out. So we want it to explode somewhere like around the middle here. right? And then that way it's not super easy to dodge, and it's unpredictable, but then it's also not exploding too high up in the sky. So we're gonna fly up in the air for a couple seconds, then we're gonna let go, and then that gives it time to drop, right? Why?
Okay.
Oh, that didn't
Yeah.
show up in kill feed for some reason. Did they take that off? Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. Your kill feed's not showing up.
Isn't it is showing up or isn't?
It is not. I
Yeah,
don't see it.
that's strange. I don't know why kill feed's not there. And that's interesting. Well, in any case, we'll get bomb back. So that's what we can do if we're kind of chilling on point, right? We just do straight up.
Mhm.
Don't do it too early. Don't do it too late. It's roughly like 2 seconds. But then the other easy one that we can do is we just launch it diagonally. Most of the time, when we're using it, I notice that we just kind of plop it there, right? We just
Yeah.
like waltz it in and then we just let it go and then we walk away, right?
Whammy, yeah.
Which that can be dangerous. First off, because we are now just running up to them in the middle of a fight. Second off,
Mhm.
this makes it super easy to dodge because if you just see a bomb like sitting here, right? All you have to do is just run around the corner, right? It makes it, if you know where the bomb is, it becomes a lot easier to dodge it out. And then thirdly, we're also gonna be in danger as a baby diva because we're sitting kind of in the middle of the fight, right? So this is much safer over here, and it becomes a lot more unpredictable if we sit back here and we launch a bomb in like so, right? Oh, and of course it missed every single one. But we can sit on the side of the fight,
Yeah.
have the bomb explode midair, where the bombs, when it's midair and it's going kind of on a trajectory, it's a
Mhm.
lot harder to predict where it's gonna land, and it becomes a lot harder to get behind cover, right? So you want the unpredictableness nature of it, as well as the fact that it makes it a lot safer for you. So
Okay.
whenever possible as well, we want to go over objects as well, so we can come from kind of different angles, so we can go over buildings, over archways, choke points, right? So we can do something like this where we kind of launch it in from an off angle like this, right? And it goes over the top and lands in there, right? So
Okay, yeah.
we want to be looking for
Nice.
stuff like that rather than just plopping it on point, and then that's gonna make it a
Yeah.
lot easier to land those. Yeah, besides that, boosters I'd like to see a little bit more often, right? Just really look to contest those people. So, for example, I think a good example would be when Junkrat and Mercy or whoever was just sitting up on the, like, our high ground right next to us, right? All we have to do is just boost up on them, and we're using missiles, and then we can melt them in pretty fast, right? Diva's a pretty, has a lot of damage output, especially if you're looking to use it. So make sure that we're looking to use it. One more thing, I think we're gonna go over some crosshair placement real quick, and then that should be it. With our crosshair, make sure that we're looking to aim head level. So if we're aiming body level, then that means all our shots are hitting body shots, and when we hit all body shots, that means that they're dying a lot slower than if we're hitting all headshots, right? So headshots are just going to be better, they're gonna be more efficient, you're gonna get more damage out of it. So with our crosshair, we want to make sure we're aiming head level because that means that there's less adjustment. So if we're aiming here, right, and then we go to hit headshots, we have to go top left, and that means that we're more likely to miss shots, or we're going to be inaccurate with our tracking. But if we're already aiming head level, that becomes a lot easier to go to these headshots because we are already aiming there, right? And then on top of that, that means all our spam damage when we're just turning corners and whatnot are all hitting headshots, rather than if we're aiming at the body level, where that's where we've been a lot of time, then we're just turning this corner and all these shots are hitting body shots, right? We're doing a lot less damage. So we want to make sure that we're aiming up here so that we're doing those headshot damage, right?
Okay.
And then that's including, when we're boosting at people as well, right? So we can do this, we're aiming head level at doorways, corners, corners. We know they're top left, so I'm going to boost at them right here where they're coming out, but I'm aiming at their head level when I'm coming out. We know he's on our left here, so we're already aiming to our left at the head level. Okay, and we're gonna come out here and we're just gonna boost at their head, right? So that we want to make sure we're looking for those headshots.
Okay.
Alrighty, so you can look to go get in a game now. I'm gonna be a little bit more talkative in this next game now that I kind of know what I'm looking at.
All right.
And you also do need to start streaming again.
Oh, yep, that's right. There we go.
Now entering
Okay, so the big thing here is that as soon as the game unlocks, we need to be looking at the enemy team comp and thinking what ults can we eat, what abilities can we eat, and we need to keep those in our heads when we know what ultimates that we can eat. That allows us to kind of eat them much more efficiently and more often. Now of course we're on Zarya, not Diva now, but that is if we were on Diva. Sorry.
Yeah, no, is Diva Hog alright? I mean, I
Diva
know
Hog.
Zarya Hog is pretty aggressive, but
Diva Hog is not really a combo that's run much, but neither is Zarya Hog either. Neither one of them is preferable, but I probably would say Zarya Hog's slightly better.
I can also run probably Sigma Hog, because Sigma's the third.
Hog Sigma.
Yeah, Sigma's good.
Alright.
Sigma's probably the best out of the three.
I think Anna.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack commencing. Recapture objective A. Enemy target located.
Test these hypotheses.
The power of destruction.
Observe the barrier.
The damage.
Barrier unstable.
This will heal you.
Barrier no longer exists. Enemy turret ahead.
Don't just toss shield out. Look to really use it when you're pushing aggressively because you only have 700 health on it, right? So only look to use it when you're taking space or you're about to die or a teammate's about to die. We same thing as defense matrix, right? We can't just toss it out for spam damage.
Okay.
Right, so look to use it more selectively. Look to give it some more recharge time so that you're putting it out when you have the full 600, or sorry, 700 instead of just when you're at 300. Good grasp usage. Yep.
I'm on fire.
Almost ready. Changing position.
Hog's going back second level hotel.
Lifting off.
Activating the barrier.
Oh, nice shield. Don't be afraid to as well add in a grasp, because you can use it kind of like the defense matrix, right? If Hog hooks somebody, we can go in with a grasp and just eat up all his damage.
Okay, yeah.
Now your shield did block it, but there's a good chance that could have, just been right outside of the shield.
I'm gonna ult here.
Watch, make sure you're not leaving your shield up, right?
Oh, no. Oh, okay. I knew I should have put a shield behind me. Ah, that was so dumb.
Background in the windows.
An unexpected but not unwelcome
Yeah, I was trying to back up.
Enemy radar contact.
No.
We're still up one. You're just now even. Focus mercy, focus mercy.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Hog behind us. Both the heals are down.
Alrighty. Um, Now, when we're pushing in like that, again, make sure you're using your shield. So we want to be saving it when we're playing passive, and we're not going in, and then using it when we're going aggressive, right? Because when we're going aggressive, that's where we need the cooldown. Because when we're going aggressive, that's where we're going to be taking all the damage. So make sure that we're actually using our shield when we are going aggressive. As a lot of time we're kind of holding on to it.
So like push like that, like shield my way in.
Yep. Alrighty, so there, when you see hogs walking forward into you, just make sure we're looking to use the rock on them first. I can just push him backwards and stun him. Keep in mind, like rock, basically with both of your abilities besides your shield, you're looking to use them almost off a cooldown. You're looking to use them as like every opportunity you get, and then that way you get the maximum kind of stun usage out of your rock and damage, and then you also get the extra health and shields from your shields.
More is down.
Very nice.
Soldiers in the windows on high ground behind you.
Enemy target located.
All right, so with
Left side, you want
Sigma, it's looking like we have kind of the exact opposite issue that we do have on Diva. On Diva, our biggest issue is that we have a kind of a ability we aren't using our abilities correctly. On Sigma, it looks like we just have a lot of mechanical issues. We have good shifts, we have good timing on our rocks and kind of decent shield management. The issue is that we're just missing a lot of our rocks. We're missing a lot of our regular primary shots. So
Okay.
that's probably going to be one of the bigger things to practice on Sigma, and then we'll go a little bit more into depth on it afterwards. But our shifts so far have been fantastic. You using those really well.
Not paid attention to the kill feed.
Then when you see my beam, man, get in front of it.
Yep, and we're also
When I'm trying to heal it.
basically you want to use your shield kind of as an aggression meter. So we might have talked about that when we played Reinhardt last time, but you want to make sure that when you don't have your abilities, right, when you're out of abilities and you're out of your shield, when you're out of health, that you're playing more passive and we're not trying to get aggressive. So we need to make sure that we can be aggressive when we have that shield, but when we don't, we need to make sure we're playing passive. Whereas last fight we got too aggressive when we didn't have that shield available for us.
We
All right, make sure
we
we're not
don't
being
focus that.
Make sure we're not being too hesitant with our flux. 2 out of 3 of
Okay.
our fluxes, we started off and we had multiple people in our flux, and then people just kind of moved out of our flux because we waited too long. Essentially, with your flux, you have different timings with it. Sometimes you go fast, sometimes you wait a little bit longer. When you use either of them, it's going to depend on the situation. Sometimes, for example, if you start off your flux and you have multiple people in it, you're not going to get a better opportunity than that, right? So if
Mhm.
you're starting off your flux and you have 2, 3 people in it, use it, and then as soon as you see that, and then that way you're not giving them time to run away from it.
Okay.
But then if you're using Flux and you only see maybe like one person in it, nobody in it, right? Then you can wait a little bit longer until you line up 2, 3 people in it. But
Mhm.
in 2 of the cases that we used our Flux, we had multiple people in our Flux, but we just kind of held on to it too long, and then we gave them time to run out of it, right? So we just got to be careful that we're not holding on to it for too long.
Okay.
There is no obligation.
Yep.
So when I'm like floating around and I'm going to pick a spot, do I just click and it's and like what's the activation time? Do I
Um,
have
like before it actually like lifts them
locks
up in the
on?
air.
Yeah.
Around the second.
Okay.
It's a cast time. I don't know the exact cast time.
Oh, sure, but okay, because I always forget about that.
Yep. So sometimes we might have to predict where people are walking rather than like also having it right on top of them. Alrighty, be careful of your positioning there when you don't have a Reinhardt with you. Can't be that far forwards.
Genji above up here with me. I need heal. Like they have our high ground, guys.
Alrighty, so 2 things there. First off, make sure that when you are high energy, that all of your bubbles are exclusively being used for tanking, right? So we're not just popping our bubble on Reinhardt when nothing's happening. Because when we're at 99 energy, right? Because what's that going to get us? 1 energy, and we're not going to get any value out of the tanking. So make sure that when we're high energy, right? So maybe like 70 or up, where all of our bubbles are exclusively being looked for tanking. Now on top of that, make sure we're looking for damage more often. So far, bubble usage has been pretty good. We've been high energy. I believe that fight you were like at 100 energy. We just weren't really looking for much damage. So make sure that you're putting kind of damage at the forefront of your mind, because in 100 energy, Zarya is one of the highest damage dealers in the game, and you're gonna be getting a whole
Okay.
lot of value if you're looking to do damage.
All right, take space, take space. We can't let them push through the corridor. We're up too.
Don't back up too early if your shield's still up. Okay. Make sure when you're using bubbles that you're not backing up, right? Because when you're backing up, that means that they're not going to hit it. So you, like, for the past 2 bubbles, first bubble, you walked behind your Reinhardt shield. Second bubble, you just walked around cover, right? So instead, walk forwards where they can actually see and shoot at you so that you're getting energy out of those bubbles. Okay, very good grab. It's just unfortunate they used more ultimates and they got more value.
Yeah. I didn't realize that Bao was behind me, so that was a
So your
issue.
Hanzo looked like he died early, so that's something to keep in mind. If you press tab real quick, I've heard you communicate. You have 2 ultimates that you can combo with Graf, right? Torb and Hanzo. So that's something that you can communicate with your team and say, hey guys, I have Graf, Hanzo, you combo with my ult, right? Or if Hanzo's dead, Torb, you combo with my ult, right? And because we don't have that combo now, Graf's not getting nearly as much value. So communicate that.
Okay. Oh, that was bad bubble.
Yep. Ever since the first fight, we've lost some of our usage of our bubbles. We haven't been nearly as high energy, so make sure we're kind of trying to prioritize that, right? Because you're going to be doing a lot more at high energy than if you're at low energy.
Should dash behind this high ground.
Hanzo's the only person you can really go up to.
Dash back left, mid, small health there.
He's one. Can we kill these two healers?
Reaper's going for the big health back hallway, back left. Reaper's mid, behind you guys, teleporting.
Right, so we have grab. Should be pressing tab, checking do we have anything to combo with it. Yep, you have a dragon, so call that out.
Everybody, don't drop them all at one time.
Do I just grab dragon this fight?
We grab Drago, yeah, first initially.
Reaper on card.
Teleported to point.
Right, so just keep in mind now we need to pay attention to if is Hanzo like here, is he dead, right?
Alright, look at the grab.
Whenever you can, just be careful.
Hog one.
I got my own installed. And I got him.
Very nice.
Reaper's on high ground behind
Oh,
us.
the mercy, I almost. Yeah, he's done. Keep feeding, bro. Just keep calling that Reaper Telly because he literally is just feeding over and over.
Monkey on the right.
Monkey took high ground. Doom piss high ground too.
Not good.
Mercy's resident inside the hallway. Hog behind us mid.
Anna's. Back up.
Hey, back up. You guys are purple. Your BAP is down.
Alright, again, I think your target priority needs a whole lot of work. In the middle of fights, we're prioritizing too much on the Hulk, who's nanoed at full health, right, versus, and the Monkey versus trying to look at, you know, any of the other 4 characters that can die a lot faster. Mercy, we did swap to Mercy, so that was really good. It's just that it's kind of the afterthought rather than it being the first thing on our mind, which is real. We want it to make it, right? Make sure you're looking to use graph here. It doesn't need to be on much.
Your BAP is down.
Could have been able to get out of that. Oh, fuck.
Doom. Ryan's back, good shit. Just call your targets, you're good. Doom. Good dragon, shit.
Lamp is out. Lamp is down. Hog.
Shit.
Hog low, hog.
I cannot track this, Lucio.
Alrighty.
Alright.
So I'm gonna stream again if you want to go take a look.
Considering how we
Yeah.
got rolled initially, that was a pretty good game.
So, I guess let's start with Zarya since we're just on Zarya. So, with our bubbles, a lot of the times we kind of gotta make sure that we're staying for a full duration, but then we're backing up when they're gone, right? So when we bubble, keep in mind you can see it on your screen, right? You can see it, and then when it goes away, you can't see it anymore, and there's a sound, right? So you have sound effects. You have it on the corners of your screen. You'll see the bubble, so you pay attention to that. And then when bubble breaks, you can also hear that sound. So when we're using our bubble, let's say that this, or like this bot line is kind of Reinhardt's shield. A lot of what we are doing is we're stepping in front of it for half a second, and then for the other half of bubble, we step back behind the shield. So we kind of go like this, and then back up, and then now the other half doesn't get any value, and we only end up getting 30 charge instead of 40 charge. So we want to make sure that we're looking to stay for the full duration. But then sometimes also we will end up pushing forwards too far. I don't want you to push, like when I say push forwards, I don't want you to be pushing up super far to where we're doing this, where we're kind of running straight at them, and then now we don't bubble, and then now we're stuck here on the open without any cover, right? Because sometimes you'll do that too. What I want to see is I want to just see you not be behind walls, because we do the same thing with walls, right? Where we push forward, push forward for half a second, and then we'll back up behind a wall while bubble's still up and active, right? So I wanted to see you push forward for a little bit with bubble, and then back up when bubble's gone, right? So that's what we want to be looking to do. Now, with your bubble, like Sigma Shield, like Ryan Shield, right? Remember, it's going to be acting as your aggression meter. Make sure that you're looking to be a little bit more aggressive when you have it available, and less aggressive when you don't have it available. As a lot of the times, we kind of keep a same kind of. It's weird because we were kind of aggressive in the wrong spots and passive at the wrong spots. A lot of the times our targets, again, like I've been saying, are on the wrong targets, and we end up focusing the things that aren't going to get us a whole lot of value, and we just kind of chill poking at stuff once in a while rather than running on the supports in the back line when we have bubble available, and we can kind of just shred them because of how much damage we're doing, right? When we're doing 100 damage or 100 energy, right? It's a whole lot of damage that we can get on those squishier targets. So really make sure that we're focusing on the priority. Let's see. I think bubble usage was the big thing there in Zarya, but we also really want to make sure that we're. Sorry. There's one more thing I want to go over on Zarya. Is our kind of fluidity when we're looking for bubbles. A lot of the times it seems we're very one kind of tracked to where we're either looking for damage or we're looking for bubbles, and it's never both. So whenever we're looking for bubbles, we will shoot, and then we'll pause, look around, and then we'll bubble, right? Whereas what we should be doing is we should be basically looking bubbles while still shooting and still doing damage in there, right? And be looking for bubbles on the side of our heads, right? In the middle of these right clicks, we're looking for bubbles in, right? And then we're bubbling while still doing damage, right? So our bubbles need to make sure that we're looking to use those with our damage. We're not stopping our damage to use bubbles. So damage should always be coming out. Even if we're looking for bubbles, we just swap real quick into the damage, right? So we want to make sure that we're not pausing for 3-4 seconds to get a bubble off, but we're damaging the whole time. Damage, doing quick flick, bubble, and then we're back. All right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now swapping back to Sigma. So Sigma, I'd probably say so if we're just gonna, we've done 3 characters so far. With Diva, big thing is our ability usage, right? We want to make sure we're getting a lot of value of our different abilities, and kind of also your ultimate. Sigma, it seems like it's almost the opposite with our at least with our shield usage and our shift. We typically are getting a ton of value. Where I noticed that we're really good. We're good at using those two. But I'd like to see a little bit more improvement when it comes to your mechanics, as a lot of times we're missing our primary shots as well as our rocks. So just keep in mind while we're using this that first off, you're on a projectile character, so when you're at a close range, you don't really need to lead at all, right? Because when they're right next to us, we don't need to lead. We can just look straight at them. But if we're trying to do that same thing to somebody over there, we end up, it's 20 meters. So try to do this to somebody right there, and we end up just going behind them, right? So we're trying to just track them. We just end up missing because we're just going behind them. So we want to make sure that we're aiming a little bit ahead of them with our crosshair, so that we're hitting those shots, right? The second thing, make sure that you are looking to hit both individual shots. We're not just trying to hit the first shot, because if we just hit the first shot, then this ends up happening and they just kind of walk past the second shot, right? We want to make sure that we're kind of tracking, so we're hitting both individual shots, because we can drastically change these shots and we can hit two different people with them if we're doing that correctly, right? So we want to make sure that we're looking to aim both shots, because both shots are important, not just the first one, right?
Okay.
Then with our rock, same thing as our regular primary shots. Remember, it is a projectile, so we need to predict. It's an even slower projectile than this, right? So we need to.
It's so slow.
Yep. So it's a slower projectile than this, so we need to aim even further ahead of them. And on top of that, we also have an arc to deal with. So not just are we aiming ahead, we also have to aim higher based off of the distance that we're working with. Because if we're just aiming, at this person, look at where rock goes, right?
Yeah.
Rock doesn't go anywhere. So we need to look super high up in the sky. And then now, this is much more likely to hit them, or I might still be off here because I haven't played Sigma in a while, right? Right over his head, right? So we look high up in the sky there, and then that rock's much more likely to hit him than if we're looking straight at him, right? Right, and blow him. Okay, so in any case, you can get the difference. We'll try one more, right? So with this guy, right, instead of looking straight at him, we're looking up and to the right. So we're gonna do it right as he's about to stop up there, right? There we go, right? So
Nice.
we got to make sure that we're practicing that, because if we're never hitting rocks, we're never getting value. Other thing is, when we're hitting rocks, keep in mind that there is a really, really good combo, right? When we hit that rock, we stun. Oh, of course I missed it. But when we hit that rock, we stun them, and we can kind of get a good combo in where we can pretty much get somebody down to 1 HP, I believe. I think that it used to be a one-shot combo, but now it doesn't. But you want to follow up a rock with shots, and keep in mind as well that they're going to be on the ground, so we need to look down a little bit more with our shots, and then that will make it so that we're getting a whole lot of damage in. Done. Shot, right? And we're looking down a little bit. I don't think the bots go down for too long, but you'll definitely see it when you're up against actual characters that they will kind of be forced onto the ground for longer, and you want to be aiming down a little bit with your crosshair.
Okay.
With your flux, again, just make sure if we're holding on to it for too long, then they end up moving out of it if we have people lined up. So right now I only have 2 people in it, so I'm looking to line them up a little bit longer. Right, there's a little bit of an activation time, and then first shot should be looking to be using in the air. Second shot is on the ground. But with that, I think you did decently. So we have 10 minutes left. I don't know if we're gonna be able to fit a comp game in that time. Would you like to maybe do a quick play?
Sure. Yeah.
Alrighty. Alright, would you like me to friend you and do it in game, or do you want to stream it again?
I can stream it again.
Alrighty.
To Rialto. Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
August popular today.
Yep, apparently. Alrighty, yep. So, just as a refresher here, with our shield, make sure we're not leaving it up. Try to rotate shield and our shift in and out with each other so that we're not using them both at the same time. That way we can kind of rotate our tanking abilities. Your shift has been spot on. Look to use it exactly how you have been using it. You want to use it frequently, and you want to use it to just get some damage in so you get your shields up. With really focus on your rock usage, your primary fire, and your flux usage. Those would be the 3 main things I want to see you working on here. And then besides that, oh, there's one more thing I wanted to go over in training range, but it's fine. Last time did we talk about what No Man's Land is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
yeah, especially on Anubis.
Yep. So just make sure that we're looking to remember that, especially kind of that was a main point when we were on first point defense of last map, right? Where we kind of pushed for it a little too far when Orion wasn't there, and out into the open.
Oops.
Nope.
Yep.
there. Make sure we're looking to kind of sit middle of the road so that we don't end up getting booped, or we got to be scouting their comp out, right? First thing we're always looking at the start of games is what is our team comp, what is the enemy team comp, because that's going to be really, really important for us.
Payload in motion.
Still on the left side.
We're up a pick right now. We talked about kill feed watching last time. Yes, no?
Yeah.
Yep, right. How
I
to know
need
if
to
it...
do more.
Yep, so make sure we're watching kill feed. That way we can know if we're winning or losing, and then off of that, we can look to play more aggressively, right? So pay attention to if we have that advantage. Right now, we just want to be recharging shield, right? We don't want to be soaking up spam damage when the fight hasn't even started yet. That way, we actually have shield for when the fight does start.
Walk back, walk back.
Oh.
Alright, yep. Really focus on those rocks, as I don't know if we landed one yet.
Nope.
With our...
Ah.
Oh, unfortunate. Make sure you're staying away from the edge, especially when you see a Lucio running straight at you. There in that last fight, we were with our positioning, we were a little too far in the open. Make sure we're hugging kind of that left wall rather than taking a wide angle, because that's going to mean that we're taking a lot less damage. Be careful that when you're using your shift that you're not being too aggressive, because there are, especially when you know that there's still abilities that can go through it, right? Punch breaks it, Hog can hook you through it, Zarya can just beam you through it, right? So be careful that you're not getting too aggressive when those abilities are on top of you. Good rock. Alright, we're getting aggressive, yep. Forward, go those kills.
That was a bad shift.
And this next fight, we're just going to look to use our ult. Just really, really focus on getting as many people in it as we can. Okay, very nice. Okay, look to place that shield on the corner rather than pushing it all the way forwards. I don't think we talked about this last time, but when we have our shield on the corner, and we're playing on corners and around corners, that means that the shield's taking half a damage, right? Because they can only shoot at half of it. So it's taking a lot less spam damage. So look to put it into the wall on a corner rather than just tossing it out into the open. Make sure we're looking to use rock there. We did hold on to it. Good job. Remember, rock can cancel ultimate, so that is something that can stop the whole hog there. Probably looking to use our ult pretty soon here, unless we start winning, but we are not currently. Don't get too distracted by the back line if stuff is still happening on the front line. Alright, so just make sure that like you as the main tank or a tank on the front line, you can't be placing all of your attention on Lucio if the fight's still going on. If the fight's not going on, then that's fine.
Okay.
Make sure we're looking to use our ult here. Back left, yep.
Got stuck on that pole. Take it. Uh-oh. Bad.
Get in his face with a shift. All right, we can kind of eat his ult in the same way we do on as a diva. Remember to use your rock, right? Especially in duels, where using it very infrequently. Make sure that you're looking to use it as often as possible, right? Typically you're just using your rock off cooldown, unless you know there's no good place to use it, right? If there's a shield
Yeah.
in the way, if you can't see an enemy, then don't go for it. But as long as you have it available and you see an enemy that you can rock, go for it and look to use it off cooldown, and then you'll get much better with your usage of it. But we kind of hold on to it a lot of the time. Alrighty, would you like, we do still have like 3 minutes left of this game. After this fight, would you like to, just leave the game, and that way we can kind of do a wrap up? But, I mean, hopefully,
Yeah.
maybe we'll end up winning here. Oh, never mind, we ended up winning, so, there we go.
Alright.
Alrighty, so, I'm gonna end up stopping the recording here.